to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Lemmy Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we don't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussion,
Tips, tricks,
as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
whether it's on the spot,
hella sweet,
Or we're lucky enough in Chrissy.
Chrissy,
I give you just the tip.
we're sure you'll giggle a little.
And learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Tim.
And I'm mental.
And welcome to an obviously Ford episode of our podcast. It's episode 390. The Ford FE engine is a medium block V8 produced in multiple displacements over 2 generations by the Ford Motor Company and used in vehicles sold in the North American market between 1958 and 1976. The FE, derived from Ford Edsel, was introduced just 4 years after the short-lived Ford Y-block engine, which American cars and trucks were outgrowing. It was designed with room to be significantly expanded and manufactured both as a top oiler and side oiler in displacements between 332 cubic inches and 428 cubic inches. The FE block was manufactured using a thin wall casting technique where Ford engineers determined the required amount of metal and re-engineered the casting process to allow for consistent dimensional results. A Ford FE from the factory weighed 650 pounds with all iron components, while similar 7-liter engine offerings from GM and Chrysler weighed over 700 pounds. With an aluminum intake and aluminum water pump, the FE could be reduced under 600 pounds for racing. The engine was produced in 427 and 428 cubic inch high performance variants and famously powered Ford GT40 Mark IIs to endurance racing domination in the 24 Hours of Le Mans during the mid-60s, where they could drive down the straights in an incredibly unstable car at high speeds and stare at the person next to them. And there was always a little bit of extra gas left. Yep. Just that slow turning stare.
You never had a problem with just looking, sideways instead of forward in a race car.
Especially at 190 miles an hour. You have 30 seconds to go.
Well, I mean, the back straight.
Mental, go faster. There's always more gas. Just more gas.
Yeah, just shift.
Yeah.
Mulsanne. Is it Mulsanne? No, what's the straight?
Moosh We've established that it's an entire line of clothing. It's
okay.
Moose
Schlong
straight.
Fine. It's really, really long. So if that's where
when you walk it, especially.
Oh, it's so long, especially in cheap shoes that are kind of wet. And yeah, it's really long. So I think you have time to look at somebody when you're walking, when you're driving.
Oh yeah, walking.
No, driving too.
Yep.
Anyway. Okay, moving on. What you working on? Let's start with Mental, because Mental did exciting things. But don't give it all away here, because we got to hear the stories later.
I was with Judge Julian at Judge Tom Webb and Judge Jim Bauman at the longest race in North America, 25 Hours of Thunderhill this weekend. And that was the all-consuming of my week. I drove out there, lost a tire on the RV on the way out there. Didn't realize I stopped for gas. I'm smelling rubber. So I walk around and sure as all get out on my outside tire. It had a side cut. It's a dually rear end on my Class C. And I am in Boron, California, which is 40 miles outside of nowhere at a Love's truck stop. So I went to the truck stop and they didn't have anything small enough, but the guy says, you want to go up one exit and you want to go to Express Family Tire. They'll have you hooked up. So I drive back one exit. I look it up. I bring it up on Waze and I found out that Express Tire is a combination truck stop, hotel, tire store, massage parlor.
They know all the things that you could ever need.
Well, convenient.
One-stop
While your
shop.
tire is getting repaired, you can have a massage.
And a nap. And so you're like, you don't have to make that express. Actually, you could just make that a normal time frame of whatever it's going to take you.
Take your time.
The last time this happened to me, I ended up stopping at a tire store in Utah. This was years ago. I lost a tire on the way back from High Plains, and it was half a day. Granted, busy tire shop before they could get me in. These dudes had me on the road in 30 minutes.
They were truly express.
Yeah.
You didn't have time for a massage.
No. I had like enough time to walk my dogs, and I came back. I'm like, holy crap, these dudes are done. Wow. And the cool thing about that is now, I knew I wasn't going to make the gate cutoff. So I just, took my time, and I finally, after 6 years of trying, got to stop in Bakersfield and have dinner at Buck Owens Crystal Palace, because they're only open on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And they're only open from like 6 until midnight, because it's a live music venue. So I got to stay there and listen to a band called New Boots, do some good cover music, and highly recommend it if you have a chance. I have not had a chance to post anything because I've just been sleeping and catching up, but it was awesome. So yeah, then we'll talk about the thing. And it's funny because driving back, even the track recognized the folks at Thunderhill Raceway said, if you are tired or dehydrated or you've been celebrating that you finished this, just park right outside the gate. Our security staff will keep an eye on you, and you wait until you're ready to drive home, which I thought was fantastic.
Good for them.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's very nice because I made it about an hour before I went, it's nap time. And then I woke up several hours later and continued on my journey, got home in enough time to shower and go to work.
Wow.
Well, convenient. You have your nappy time.
You're carrying with you, carrying your nap place.
I'm driving my apartment. It was great.
Most times it's not that way.
No.
That's for
way different than the Porsche, because not only did the seats recline, but I had a couch and a bed. It was wonderful. Yeah. So we just did that.
Good.
So you guys, however, and we're going to be talking about what y'all are doing. Y'all have had some cool stuff going on.
Yeah. So we've been, I'm not doing anything but prep for Jersey. So we've got a really big crowd, made a lot of food, just organized around here. Got we got a potluck coming. We will, here's your first notice of making sure that you bring stuff for the potluck. Yes. And Chris is doing fun things that are car related. That's not race car related.
Ish. Yeah. Well, first off, I've been driving the MG around, like properly driving it around places. Like I took it to work today, and I didn't have to hit it with a hammer at all day, despite driving it more than 25 miles over several different trips. And that is considered success with an MG. No, I had to have 2 hammers in the car just in case, because I need a backup hammer, and I have the other hammer.
Metric and standard. True, yeah.
One's Whitworth. There's no metric on this thing. Come on. So it's been driving great. It'll cruise at 70. It makes it the more it runs, the happier it is. Like the tack is a little weird when it's cold. It bounces around, makes noise, but after driving for a while, like it smooths right out because it just needs to move, right? So I need to bleed the brakes again. They're a little mushy, but like it goes straight. It goes around corners quite well. Everything just works. Who knew?
Stay that way. You took some glamour shots last night for the sale.
Yeah, took glamour shots in the park. Yep, took lots of them.
The car, not him.
Why not? He's a good looking fella. He works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him in the glamour shot. All the background all blurred out.
Long as it was some boudoir photography, a little Vaseline on the edges of the lens.
We should just clarify
not slutty,
this.
But sexy underwear. Yeah.
No, the background is one of those 1991 laser backgrounds.
Neon. Oh yeah.
It's so weird. Anyway.
Otherwise, I've been doing theme prep for New Jersey because theme prep for this race involved building something.
Yep, it did.
And it is building something that is so big that I can't finish it here. It needs to be in modular pieces to be able to be constructed at the track. So they created all the bits and very lightly tacked it together and checked for fitment and sizing and locations and things. And then took it all apart and painted it. I first was painting it with Rust-Oleum with a roller and said, this is bullshit. And then I got the Harbor Freight spray gun out, then the other $12 ones that are basically disposable. And I just used that and it goes much more quickly and looks much better. And then I did actually clean the gun this time, but I have no problem throwing it away after that. That's the best part of the Harbor Freight spray, HVLP spray gun. And he made 25 Wartburgers. So there's that.
Now I'm really depressed. I'm not going to be there. Dang.
I'll mail you one.
So now I got to start packing. I've been lightly packing a bunch of stuff because if you're going to be at this race, this is going to be the Chris and Chrissy moving garage sale of race car things. I don't need this stuff anymore. I don't want to haul it across the country.
Lots of good
Let
sales.
my junk be your junk.
Come with money.
A lot of much free things, many free things, but some things that are good race car stuff that someone might like, hey, do you want a tubing bender? Because we've got a proper
not
tubing
shipping
bender.
it across the country.
You don't have to. Give
Not
it to
shipping
Tim.
it across.
Give it to Tim.
Great.
He'll ship it
things like
across
that.
the country.
I'll just put it in my garage.
Yep.
Okay, well, that was
So-
for sale. So now we have other things for sale.
Sold to the gentleman in the blue
Next.
shirt. Yes. Yeah. Great. So yeah, lots of free stuff to give away. Come by, take some things that are free, please.
Okay, Tim, you're on the East Coast. You are
I am on the
not
East
far
Coast.
away from us.
Yeah, I am even better than on the East Coast. I am like a stone's throw away from the CNC music factory.
You're like less than a stone's throw away from my parents' house.
Yeah. So I am at my brother-in-law's house. My wife and I came this past weekend for my nephew's high school graduation. They had a big party on Saturday, and it was super cool. They had a pool party. They had a live band. He plays music, so he played a couple of songs with the band, which was super fun. They have all kinds of barbecue food that they bought and taco stuff. So they bought for like 140 people, and because the weather was so crappy, like 90 showed up. So we've got a lot of food that we can use at the race. So I'll be bringing a
That's
ton
why
of
you
stuff.
signed up for lunches. Yeah.
Tons of stuff. And I've got
Great.
like a whole tray of coleslaw, which I might throw that out.
It's a little old.
But
Leave it in the sun; it'll get tangy.
yeah, but like
Mix some potatoes in there. It's potato salad, which is Chris's favorite.
like 2 full tins of like 1 black beans and 1 like baked beans and a big thing of fruit salads. We got a ton of stuff that we can nosh on until we decide to just chuck it.
Fantastic.
So that was cool. I had to go to a local spot for my Philly cheesesteak fix, which was cool. There's a little Italian place down the road we went to. And then we went to the Morgantown Classic Auto Mall. Have you guys ever gone to that?
No, it's like 15 minutes from our house too.
Right? Mental's like,
I saw the videos and presumed Chris and Chrissy had taken the MG. Of course, Tim did it because yes, that's
he has
awesome.
time and
That's
we're at work.
fantastic.
It is.
I apologize for
huge.
misidentifying that in
No,
the show
it's so
notes.
funny. I know I changed it because I knew that we didn't go there.
It is huge. There are
It's a mall.
So many.
It used to
Yeah.
be an actual mall, and it does still look like a mall.
yes,
Yeah,
but every store is filled with cars.
Yeah.
That's the best thing to do with an old mall. Don't let them go
Yeah.
into urban decay. Put a bunch of cool
It's-
cars in it.
It's crazy. I mean, there are only a couple of photos that I posted compared to what is there, and there are like stagecoaches and motorcycles and like trikes and like all kinds of stuff. You guys need to go and check it out. It's
Okay.
really, 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 really cool. And cars, like from new cars, like new-ish, like 5 years old, way back to like the 1915. So everything. It's really neat spot. So everything's on consignment. And it's typical like markup, but it's negotiable. So that's cool. My sister-in-law, they had actually was long story. I'll tell you the quick version. 97 MX5. My wife's parents bought it brand new in 97. It went to Germany with them when they got, he got deployed over in Würzburg. And so it was on the Autobahn. It came back. We bought it from them. We had it. I took it out on track a bunch of times, gave it to my nephew for his college graduation. He drove it, sold it back to his grandparents. They realized that this car is way too low, sold it back to Darren. Darren sold it to Jim and Amanda. And then their son, not his fault, got into an accident about 4 months ago and totaled it. So she's on the hunt. Long story short, she's on the hunt for a new summer convertible. And they had a 2004.
Does she want a 2000 Porsche Boxster?
Maybe.
Or an
maybe.
MG.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
A gorgeous MG.
Yeah. So she was looking at they had an 04 350Z with 36,000 miles on it. The thing was pristine. They're asking 16. I was like, I bet you can get this thing for like 11. So they're checking to see what they want to get, but she's in the hunt for a convertible. So you never know.
Well, there's a local, very well maintained, rust-free 2000 Boxster S that needs a new home at some point.
We could talk about it over cocktails in the hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that one doesn't get sold, I feel like there's a good market for that car in Colorado. Yeah, I know you don't want to bring it out there, but yeah, or even like,
Yep.
No. Nope.
I don't want to bring anything. Like, I'm not bringing stuff.
Bring my.
I'm selling so many things. Like we're bringing enough cars between the time we bring the NSX and the Mazda and the Lotus and the Mercedes and the Cadillac and the boat and too much.
Yeah. All right. What's your Jeep repair?
So my brother-in-law has got a Jeep, and he's like, "Yeah, the brakes aren't really working right, so
you don't need those.
Awesome if we take a look at that." And I was like, "All right."
What kind of Jeep? Like a CJ or a Grand Cherokee or like?
It's a Wrangler. Yeah. So he's got it's the JL. So it's that a 2015, I guess it is. So he's like, "Yeah, the brakes aren't working right." He goes, "I think the front left caliper is dragging." He says, because the car is like slightly pulling left. So I get to the house and I put my hand near it and the whole side is hot. Right. And I was like, yeah, that's bad. So we're going to fix that tomorrow. So we go and get some parts. We get a new caliper, and I'm like, we might as well do all the pads while we're in there and change the fluid out. So I said, well, take me for a drive in it and let's like see what it's doing. He goes, it doesn't do it all the time. So well, let's like see what's going on. He goes, oh yeah, and I forgot to say this. Like if you hit the brakes hard, the car pulls right. And I was like, okay, well let's see it. He hits the brakes and the car like made a right hand turn, like blinker on.
Oh,
like
no.
What? I was like, put this thing in the driveway now. You've been driving it like this for how long? He's like, well, it's fine. Like if you know it's coming, you just hold the wheel tight. I was like, Jim,
no.
What is going on?
You are unsafe. You're unsafe.
100% unsafe, right?
if you know it's coming, yes.
So
we've never driven race cars that did something similar.
Yeah.
And
Well,
just
I didn't have a good time in it. That's what happened at Pitt. I was like, get me out. This is terrible.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
I feel like we've surpassed that if the car was hard pulling to the right and we weren't in contention, we're like, I'm bringing it in.
Pretty much. So what was it?
Caliper was shit. So
okay.
the pads were toast. They were really worn down.
It's seizing. That's why it wore out the pads on one side, and hence
they were all down. They were all dead. But it was just the caliper was bad. So we slapped a new caliper on. We put all new fluid in it, bled the system, new pads, and it was fine. So,
and then he drove it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is."
He's like, "Oh, look at that!
Better.
It doesn't pull either way." Wow. I was like, "Yeah, that's good." And then I looked at his power steering fluid, and that was empty, and he was low on coolant. And I was
because he's fighting it every time he turns and puts his brakes on.
So we got that dialed in, so he's good to go. And now we're in woodworking mode. Him and his son are big soccer players
too.
Exactly.
Right.
So they have we have made I would call it cornhole boards for football players. So there's you've got kind of a tabletop, right? It's about 18 inches off the ground, and it's got a big hole in the top of it, which is weirdly the size of a Home Depot bucket opening. And the thought is to kick the soccer ball in the top. Yes. You kick the soccer ball in the top and you get 3 points, or you can kick it like underneath through it and it's 1 point. So you set them up and the kids can play that little cornhole game. So we made 3 sets of those, so 6 of those. So those are ready for. They do a big fundraiser. He's one of the he's on the board for one of the local high school. It's not the high school team. It's like a league team. So he does that. So we got that dialed in, and that's it. And then I'm going to be hopefully coming to hang out with you guys Thursday, help pack, and then off to the racetrack.
Yep.
Okay, it's news and notes time.
Oh, sorry, got to scroll up. So we over at Jalopnik, Erin Marques recounts a tale of a horrible friend that she loaned her Saturn to, who spilled an entire bottle of Tide in her car and then left it there for months. Of course, it's detergent, so it attracted all of the dirt. Would then harden into crystals along with everything that had fallen and stuck to it. So the car mat had to be chiseled out and tossed. And then she recounts how much it is there. But it got me to thinking, what is the worst thing? Because we've all dug out some sketchy ass cars. What's the worst thing you've ever had to clean out of either a car or a race car? Damn.
All right. Not exactly where you were going, but I do have a quick Tide story.
Okay, Tide. What can it do?
So I was living in an apartment and I would go to my mom's house and do laundry. And she had in New Jersey, she had a finished basement and the washer dryer was downstairs. So I had it was a big army bag, so a giant duffel bag, basically, with all my dirty clothes and the Tide bottle in there. And I opened the door to the basement to go down the stairs, and where the handle meets the bag tears and the Tide bottle falls out. And my mom's at the bottom of the stairs and the Tide bottle falls out, lands on the lid, cracks the lid off, and then bounces up in the air and starts flinging Tide all down the stairs and the hallway as it bounces down all the way to the bottom and then lands on the bottom on its side, and it's just coming out bloop, bloop, bloop. And my mom's standing there like,
is she covered in Tide?
No, it didn't hit her, but she's standing there like watching it. I can't believe
this.
It was all over the walls. Like, it was everywhere. And she's standing there looking at it. And I was like, Mom, pick it up. Pick it up. It took hours to get the Tide out of there with a shop vac. It was like every time you thought you get it out, like more suds would come out. More suds. There was like brand new bottle. There was like this much left when it got to the back upright at the bottom. So sorry, that's sidebar.
I don't clean much out of cars because my cars are very clean. Even most of the cars, like Babe Rally cars or anything that we've had, are pretty good. My one thought was the time when I was trying to detail the Rolls Royce, which had been sitting in a garage for a while. And when I tried to clean the floors of the Rolls Royce, the carpet, instead of being able to vacuum the top of the carpet, all of the carpet just started to shred and start to come into the vacuum because it was old and ended up just needing to be pulled up anyway. But I feel like I tried to keep most of the upholstery in the rolls and looking good, and that was a struggle. So I'm going to say it was the actual rug and not what was in the rug.
I'm right there with you, Chrissy. I tend to keep very heavy mats or things like that in all of my cars. So, and I tend not to spill things. So I really haven't cleaned out. The worst one I can think of that was close, I was close enough to, is Jeff at one of our early NJMP races. He's got his Yukon and he goes to get gas and he stops. So after he gets gas, you were with him. Yes.
No, I took his truck. I'm pretty sure
he was with you.
I think I took his truck to get gas. The gas can fell over, and I didn't realize it. So it dumped gas into Jeff's truck. I'm almost positive that was just me.
Not his pickup truck, by the way.
His Yukon, right? He's done this himself though too, a separate time. He knocked it over and picked it back up, but because of the way we have the vents in ours, every once in a while it'll get an Archimedes thing going on and it'll just keep sucking the gas out even once it's back up, right? So that's what it did to him, and it's just pouring out of the vent that's down at the bottom of the thing. And he's at the ice cream store, and there's just like gas flowing out of the tailgate of his truck. So that's a race related.
Oh, that one's a good one. I like that one.
Yep.
No.
Believe it or not, mine was not the stripper limo. It was that 928 I got a couple of years ago in Bakersfield, and I'm pulling stuff because it had sat in a field, and I pulled so much dirt out of it. I filled a giant 3-foot planter just with soil, just dirt out of everywhere. And I remember the Kim Jong Elantra crew, the origin of that car was his girlfriend's cat being stranded in her car. So it was a good running car that needed a new interior. So they went and bought a car to get the interior out of it. And they're like, oh, hey, we've already got it stripped. Let's turn it into a race car. In the comments of this article on Jalopnik, which of course we've got linked, there was tales of a mummified raccoon with their babies, a Vietnam era Colt 45 that was loaded and so rusty it could not be fixed, fermenting wine, a full bottle of maple syrup laying down on the seats of a minivan, diesel, that's always fun, and a barn find with decades of dead mice between metal panels.
Oh.
So, listener, what about you?
Had a lot of mice in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Corvette had a lot of mice in it, but another one that I'll think of is that a friend who doesn't live around here anymore, we haven't talked to in a long time, had a Volkswagen thing that he had bought years ago before we knew him that had been parked with no top on it because it was a thing in the back parking lot of an adult store. So,
oh boy.
Yeah.
That's probably full of everything that they expected the stripper limo to be full of. And I remember we had Jeff Hanka and Salty Thunder talking about his crack pipe and bloody hatchet in his race car. But listener, what about you? What's the worst thing? It doesn't necessarily have to be gross, like the Tide. No one expects Tide to be a mess unless you leave it there. So what's the worst thing you ever pulled out of your car?
Tim knows Tide is bad.
Yeah.
Tide bad.
Yeah, I still have a jar of sticky change that I keep that I'm going to be using this year for a penalty.
It also makes me think of all the things that when Chris goes to look for parts in junkyards, and I just love to go look through all of the cars. I look through each one of them, try to find. I've found some doozies of paperwork and all the. Yeah,
I remember time we found Tyrone's court paperwork in the.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah. You guys were doing some actual
Kia job performance evaluation,
resumes and I make this story about this person that has totaled their car. My favorite. I can't wait to hear of these stories. They're going to be great.
Post them up. I can't wait to hear them.
All right,
Absolutely.
we know car prices are rising, but that's not good. But more bad news: the average marketed price of a new vehicle in the United States is now over $50,000. Matthew Guy at The Truth About Cars has the details. Average market price is different than average transaction prices, as well as the final price, but is considered a barometer of the market. According to Kelley Blue Book, the average transaction price of a new vehicle is $48,699, almost up $9,000 from the mid 2020s. Uncertain global economy, supply chain, and a host of other factors really do amount to something that's surprising no one. As Matthew says, no wonder more and more Americans are keeping their vehicles for upwards of 10 or 12 years. Link to more of that in our notes.
Yep. So a terrible solution for dealing with those expensive new cars, steal them. But as Lewin Day at the Autopian tells us, grabbing them off the street is so passé. Instead, would-be thieves are going to dealerships and even the factories. Problem is, they aren't very smart. Case in point, when a crew attempted to snatch a new Hummer EV from a loaded train car in Detroit, gaining access, the thieves elected to forego unloading ramps and attempted to just drive the 9,000-pound SUV off the train car with a 4-foot drop directly onto the tracks. So the first Hummer EV cleared the train car, but it got stuck on the tracks when a passenger front tire dismounted from the rim and then bottomed out in the rails. The second didn't even get that far. It went nose first into the ground, damaged a fender, and lost the front tire while getting stuck, had half in the train car. I think the problem is they didn't yeet it hard enough on the way out. I mean, this
Send it, bro. Send it.
A lot of horsepower. Like, these things are fast, especially the second one. Just go, man. Just go. And you'll clear it. And you have a better chance.
It really looks like they just started to like drive off the side.
Yeah,
and just like,
well, it's a Hummer.
crap.
It'll be fine. No.
Get
That thing
tiptoe
out
your
of the
way
train
out of
car.
there. Yeah, send it. Come on, man.
You gotta see those pictures.
So good.
All right, do you want to talk about this,
Tim?
About Racing Junk?
Yeah.
Yes.
So should we talk about racingjunk.com?
We
We
should.
should.
We don't usually give the intro from that, but yes, go ahead.
I love racingjunk.com. And I went to the Morgantown Classic Auto Mall. And then after that, I went to go and look on Racing Junk for something to highlight. And lo and behold, there were 9,000 cars on Racing Junk from the Morgantown Auto Mall. And here's one of them.
Did you see that one?
I did. I took a picture of it. They had a 1985 Lada AutoVaz. It is the Combi, and it is a 47 Chrysler convertible or a 57 Chevy Nomad, if you've seen those. But it's a little different than that. I would say it's a little bit smaller. It's a little cuter.
A lot cuter.
It's so adorable. And so these were built with Fiat tooling, and it's basically a Fiat 124 wagon, but it comes with an overhead cam. It was adapted in order to survive treacherous Russian driving conditions. And this low mileage example comes with aluminum rear brake drums, raised suspension, and a body made from thicker, heavier steel. The ad has over 50 pictures and pages of a very accurate description. It's got 7,573 verified miles and plenty of room for your miniature lawn chairs. So be the standout. Buy a Lada. Yes.
Or vodka.
Have vodka and enjoy. It's great.
Oh,
They also had a Puma there, which was also on Racing Junk.
Oh, that's so cool.
So some really crazy stuff. So if you want to go do a search for Morgantown, PA, and you can look at a bunch of the cars that they have in the auto mall, all on racingjunk.com.
And if you're coming up there, let us know, and maybe we'll meet you there, depending on the day and time.
You should do
There
it.
you go. Totally do it.
It's
Okay.
free.
It's not if you buy one.
That's fair.
Shoot. Upcoming races, not RacingJunk. We're done with RacingJunk. It's upcoming races. We have Lemons at New Jersey this weekend. We are going to talk about that later. And the Dog Days of Summer at Oregon Raceway Park are happening. We have no answers for who's racing them, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing as it usually is. Racing results. That's what we're talking about. Go.
AER was at VIR. They had 34 vehicles. Wow. Saturday, Team Redbeard in a Cayman 1 followed 2 laps back by Rooster Racing in another BMW M3. 2 laps behind them was Lime Rock Racing in another boring BMW M3. Sunday, however, Redbeard Racing won again. 2 seconds behind them on the same lap was Zigzag Racing in a 2012 Corvette, but don't panic. There was an M3 2 laps behind both of them. Only 32 of the 34 cars turned any laps at all. 5 more cars turned less than 50 laps.
Yeah. Talk about a track day.
Wow.
Yeah.
As of we mentioned, Lemons setting yet another. Actually, they set like 2 records this weekend at Thunderhill.
What was the other one?
The new EV racing record. Team Arc Blast went 1,135 miles in their Tesla powered Datsun pickup.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So your overall was Cerveza Racing and their 83 BMW. You've seen that name before because they've been doing it a while. That car is really is kind of probably at this point a $500 car. They just know what they're doing. Same thing with Class B, the Dirty Duck Racing number 83. It is a bone stock like Rabbit GTI.
Good for those guys. Those guys are great. Good for them.
And like 80 horsepower when new. They just run smart. They run clean. Class C. I was actually really excited about this. So it's the Mighty Morphin No Power Rangers. The car's been there a couple of times. They came out a couple of years ago. This is Kevin Areola, who is a YouTuber, does a lot of stuff with Toyota Corollas, but he found the front wheel drive version that he races for this one because all the other cool ones he does on his YouTube. And also Jaime Garcia, who is the host of the FF podcast. We've had some cross work with them. And they came in and they were theming hard to the point where they came and bothered us at 2:00 in the morning. So they were doing some fun stuff on that one. And they've won several awards. They had the, only slightly insulting Jamaican bobsled team last year and some other stuff like that went. So that was great. But it was almost they barely kept the lead and just raced smart. Your organizer's choice, 25/7, retheming their car, knowing that the 25 was coming up. It was the Inconvenience Store 93 Honda Accord. But what they did is they actually opened a 7-Eleven in their paddock and they had gum and they showed up at the pits with a hot dog roller and a bunch of other stuff. And everything they sold in their store, they donated to Lemons of Love and Ranger Road. And they had car stuff and non-car stuff. It was pretty funny. And they were not without challenges. The car kept trying to break and then they finally fixed it and got it out there and then it blew its engine. So they just stayed around and kept running the store. So good on them. Heroic Fix was Turd Racing in their 82 Celica Supra. It munched the engine. They found another similar engine with another Toyota team that didn't need it and basically just went through and found the best rod and piston that they could. Broke literally the entire engine down. They had the crank, the cam, everything was completely apart and they just picked the best pieces, including the block that had a thinner piece where it had apparently scraped the inside wall. They said, the heck with it. We're going to send it. And sometime about 9 a.m., that car pulled out onto the track and everyone cheered. And then 10 minutes later, it came back in on the hook and everyone was upset and then went back out and ran till the end. So it was great. Your judge's choice, Magic Kart Motors, and they were in a 97 Avalon. And why an Avalon, do you ask? Well, this is a good team of young students. They came to 2 separate Lemons races and asked a ton of just smart questions like, hey, well, what are the considerations of a automatic versus a stick shift and this sort of thing. thing, and they talked to winning teams, and they talked to C-class teams, and they talked to IOE style teams, and they settled on an Avalon, which ran the entire time, and we didn't even see them that much. Halloween meets gasoline. We've all judged races, and the key with Halloween meets gasoline is you can't take a break. You have to spend all of it. And when it's a 25-hour race, there is no break. That team started Thursday afternoon. I don't even think they knew what they were doing. They were just walking around in these police costumes, yelling at people and threatening to beat them with the nightsticks. And at one point I said, guys, all right, seriously, just back off. I just need a couple of minutes here, man. So it was the first time any of us had ever had to tell an HMG contender, it's too much. It's just too much.
Wow. That's great. What else did they do?
It was the twin engine Focus. So they like the show
only threats of violence, or is it other things too?
Well, so they're driving around. They were English policemen, and then they had Top Gear and Mr. Bean playing on screens all the way around the race car as it's going around the track. And then they would just come over and randomly accuse us of things. And they had a pit vehicle made up like a little English police car and would drive through and beat people with nightsticks. One of them tried to pull me over for speeding on my skateboard. It was, just on and on and on and on. Screwed. Tim's familiar with the Sierra College team, particularly one member of the Sierra College team who during finals week put 40 hours just in 1 week, not to mention everything leading up to it, into this car to the detriment of a few of his finals. And it turned 7 laps before the head gasket blew. So,
make good choices.
I keep telling them stop with, because it's their second mini. Stop it with the minis. But they're getting a lot of education. Side note, a couple of fans of this show, including everyone's favorite welder, Erica Snow, graduated. They are now college graduates and certified, and that's great to hear. We created.
Super cool picture too of a couple of them in the stands for graduation with their gowns on and big yellow welding helmets. Did you see that photo?
Yes, I did.
Great picture.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we created the regional because we were themed as MTV icons. So Jim Bauman was a ska guy. He had the suspenders and the pants and the cool hat and everything, and even the jacket. Tom Webb was Kurt Loder now, because Kurt Loder's in his 70s. So he had a walker, and remember when MTV was cool? I remember. It was fantastic. That's awesome. I was Robert Smith from The Cure. So we called this one the I Want My Fail TV, and it went to Heavy Metal Racing 114 and a 2011 Crown Vic. Team full of rookies. And they brought this Crown Vic on there, and on a 24-hour race, your penalties get reset every 8 hours, which is kind of how it works on a regular. At the end of the day, your penalties, now they don't get erased, but you start fresh the next day of racing. All 3 times we ended up having to park these guys for an hour because they just kept doing stuff. And we would, stop it. Here's a ridiculous penalty. And then and every time we gave them a ridiculous penalty, they just leaned into it so hard. Julian brought a bunch of cassettes. And one of them was, you have to make a mixtape. So go around and ask everybody on the staff what your favorite song is. And they made us a mixtape, and it was actually really good. And then another time, Julian took a cassette, and people of a certain age will remember whenever the cassette would lose the thing out of her, you always kept a pencil in your car or a Skillcraft pen so you could wind it back up. So he pulled almost all of the tape out of that and had those guys rewind it, which they did like pros. I dug up an old memory of me in 2011 when Jay Lamb made my team do yoga, and we did yoga at 3:00 in the morning, and they actually went, "Oh God, that really feels good, man. Thank you." It was they just kept laughing and kept having fun. So, hopefully their driving will get a little better, and they'll keep coming back. And your IOE was Fair Disadvantage Racing. These guys have the car's been around since 2011 that we know of, because the database only goes back to 2011. It's been around before that. It's a unmodified 92 Toyota Paseo. They usually run a smoky unit. If you ain't cheating, best damn garage in town kind of a theme. They are invisible. The car is a solid Class C. They run great. They're not overly trying, but they absolutely totally get the spirit. And we decided and they still finished in the top third with this car, just out there turning laps. So great team, probably overdue, because they would get overshadowed by somebody that built something for an IOE, and they came out there and did that. So that was a good time.
Good for them. Congratulations.
Anything else
Cool.
noted for the weekend? We talked about your breakdown.
We've got some in the list for feedback. A lot of people took heed, and we actually got a couple of things of, hey, we really appreciate the warning about the weather, because they got in front of it. Most people did pretty good, but Tom Webb did have to, and I'll talk about this in a minute. Tom Webb did have to intervene on one person that was dehydrated.
Okay, you want to move on? Listener feedback time. Go ahead.
On the YouTube about not drinking whatever somebody hands you in the paddock the night before you get in the car. Our buddy Jim B said, but is it as bad as root beer schnapps? And we were talking about Malort, and yes, it's worse. It's so worse. Now, on our last episode, which was the T-Hill preview fondue, Paul J summarized the weekend saying fondue, more like flambe, and he was not wrong. And it was a mean heat. But everyone did take it to heart. But Tom Webb, he had a guy come in for driving off the track, and he looks at him and says, why do you think you're here? And the guy's like, yeah, I was just driving. And then I wasn't on the track. And he had a 1,000-yard stare, and Tom goes, okay, points to someone, get me a Gatorade and a glass of water right now. You two, get this man out of the car. We parked the chiller that Tom had brought in front of him and blew it on him. And as he starts to rehydrate, he's like, yeah, wow. Yeah, I was not in a good place. So yeah. And Paul J also added that the last scene of Ash versus the Evil Dead TV show is a Leban's car waiting to happen. Take note of that, themeless teams. But if you're going to do anything Bruce Campbell related, you cannot come weak, because this screen notwithstanding, 85% of the judges are going to be Bruce Campbell fans. So do some research.
Okay.
Fair. Mike K addressed my mileage summary of my new truck with Tim. 24-foot enclosed at about 9,000 pounds behind a 2015 Ford F-250, 8 to maybe 10 mpg, depending on the tires, elevation changes, etc. That's only at 60 to 65 miles per hour. So even with their very heavy open trailer with the Plymouth on board, it's about 11 to 13 and a half. So you are well within the norms. Good to know.
Doesn't mean it's good. Tyler also
stinks.
had comments. Surprisingly exactly no one. Tim's towing mileage is considerably better than mine in the Excursion, which happens to be 8.5. Basically, you're not allowed to complain. He also said that Chris saying it's a bongo friendly has to be on the next sound clip on the soundboard.
I'll work on it.
Oh,
It's a bongo friendly.
It's a bongo friendly.
Yeah. It's the most Chrissy car name I've ever seen in my life. Come on. Another comment on our Survive 25 episode, quote, just a random thing I enjoyed from 24-hour races is the use of ATV/off-road light whips. Makes smaller cars highly visible at night to all around. When wired correctly, they can function as additional brake lights. And when in the hot, cold pits, you can change them to white to see everything around, in and around the car. Lots of those at Thunder Hill Race, and we agree. And some more Reddit feedback. The House of Gloves said, this podcast gets me through work every day. I don't know how, because we only do it every week. So if you're listening repeatedly, I'm very sorry, sir.
Also,
Thank you,
is that a real person on Reddit?
Your work must be very challenging. Yeah.
He only listens to us
probably
15 minutes per day. He takes just a little bite. every day.
There you go. Or he just discovered us. We've been doing this for almost 10 years. So, at this point, we have an extended library of nonsense to help you make a bad decision.
Why let the truth get in the way of a good
Every
story?
day.
Yep.
Got a lot of in-person feedback at the race. 3 separate people sincerely appreciate that they can now hear Chrissy because, and I quote, I like what she has to say.
That's so nice. I'm glad. I just had to mess with some settings and here we are. And a new cord.
And took a trip to Morgantown Auto Mall, and Eric K said, lovely.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of fun pictures on there. We posted a picture of our hard work for our theme for the weekend. If your responses are an indication, it should be great. Not everyone was theming though. Randy B was rebuilding a transmission with the qualifier. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Eric K was replacing an Audi taillight, which of course required engine removal. Matt F was doing axles. Well, at the very least, it was service position, no matter what. LJ was doing K-car things and getting the Subaru ready for an outing tomorrow.
Outing.
Good.
Charlie P was working on plumbing and wishing it had to do with the theme. But on themes, Sagi suggested that it was a Lumberjetta theme, which no, but that is a great idea. Carl A said, noted, as you should. Would. What can't it do? Sean W agreed with any theme that requires lightweight composites like OSB is a good theme. He's looking forward to our reveal.
No, I don't know if I want to read this one. Jackie foreshadowed with, I'd like to hear you out and trust us. That's going to be funny and part of it. Greg O said we have been thick into a theme for the past week. I'm sure I'd like to explain it, but I'm not even sure what it is yet. It's going to be great. And Cheese Bolt, engage. What introduced me to my new work motto as amusing chaos, and they are bringing.
I originally wrote that as I was going to read it, and that is my new
fine.
work motto is amusing chaos. That just describes my week, especially now. I love it.
Cheese Bolt's also bringing back pudding shots, so that's happening.
That's because they way overbought at Pit Race.
And they were amazing. I ate probably menu cheap.
I want chocolate pudding shots, please.
That's all. I think that's all they're having. That's all they're having is chocolate.
Okay.
I see, but like
Pud Life, yo.
Yeah. Pudding shots, that's
life,
amusing chaos. That is that is fantastic. Now, Sean D had some achievable expectations. We just want to stay alive at this point. That's always a good goal. Scott M said, I've personally spent $122 on themes from New Jersey, and that's just my portion. Now, Bruce Bruce S said, you're not supposed to keep track of that. And Carl agreed. I don't tally up receipts for any of this mess. And Matt needed to remind everybody that he was $12 into his theme, and that's for 3 folks. So there's another sub-discussion. Are themes like race cars or classic cars where you keep all the receipts and never, ever add them up?
Yes.
We always add them up.
No.
Yes. Don't
Tax
ever add
write-offs.
them up.
Tax write-offs.
Tax write-offs.
We always. I got a pile of receipts, right?
You need multiple theme boxes, multiple bins for your themed things.
I want to meet the agent that went through your stuff when you guys did the S&M theme. That'd just be.
Well, fortunately, no one works at the IRS anymore, so that makes it easier for us now.
All right.
Fair.
It's illegal.
It's totally legal, double-ended dildo. It's a business expense.
Depends on the business, I suppose.
Yeah. Who never tries to write off questionable things?
There you go. That's a good way to turn this story around.
There you go.
I was trying hard for a few seconds to figure out a way.
Thank you.
Oh, so good.
Actually,
you know who is amusing and not chaos?
Do you know who's coming to the race on Friday?
No.
Yep.
What?
Yep, she'll be there.
Now I'm even more bummed. Dang it.
Sorry, and say hi. She's going to bring cookies. And my nephew.
All right. Everyone be nice or else.
pretty much.
Yes.
You will answer to the cookie mafia.
I don't think she yells at people. Other
Chrissy's
people anyway.
Chrissy's mom has a posse.
Unknown. Yes.
They rolled deep.
They do.
Oh, okay, let's move on. It's main topic time. Let's talk about this weekend.
All right. We have New Jersey Motor Sports Park. No.
Chris?
Someone just highlighted all of the notes.
Oh, sorry. I was about to make the font big enough for me to read it.
Great.
Oh.
No problem.
Okay.
Great.
Keep going, Tim.
Let's move
All
on.
right. New Jersey Motor Sports Park. We have 131 cars, 21% or 28 of them will be BMWs. There are only 5 Miatas. Not bad. 8 Hondas, 3 Porsches, and a Studebaker, and a Sunbeam. Although Eric isn't impressed, apparently, who said, I don't know, it looks like 131 boring cars with nothing at all weird or out of place or anything like that. So I guess there are 4 cars with Nissan SR20s, which is kind of a Lemons anachronism, and a Mercury Milan versus a Ford Taurus Showdown.
Yep.
Oh, come on, Eric. Studebakers, Sunbeams.
Studebaker.
I'm excited for a Sunbeam. I think a
It's a
Sunbeam.
bear in its natural habitat. That Sunbeam's been there for a couple of years. The first year they were just building it most of the weekend. And then they finally got out there. Last year it ran a little more. So hopefully they continue their streak of improvement. I like to be cautiously optimistic about small 60s British roadsters at the moment.
You can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
They will only have to hit with a hammer sometimes.
I would say that tragically optimistic would be a better way to say that, Chris.
Yeah.
When you're
You're
referring to the British, I think cautiously optimistic is always a good approach. Yeah.
Stiff upper lip and all that.
Yes, exactly.
So getting in the gate, the track says the gate's open at 7. Some years they actually are really solid about that, because other people are there and they're not leaving and we have to wait. And so that ends up with actually quite a nice party in the very long entryway to the track. They have a really long curving driveway and everyone pulls their cars in there and everyone gets out and has a beer and chat. It's kind of nice, actually. So who knows, that might happen this year. Or there might be one of those times where the person who rented it the day before is out of there and they let us in at 4.
You never know. Our first team that gets there pulls in and says, "Oh, open," and then or they say, "Yep, we're down the street far away." It's just, you just never know.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, call the track tomorrow, but they're probably not going to know until the end of the day anyway. So
nope.
That's going to be a good day weather-wise. So that doesn't bode well for whoever's in there for leaving early.
Right.
Anyway, the gate registration closes at 10. This is important. If you don't have an armband, you have no entry. And when they say the gate closes, no, they legit close a gate. And then you have to call the security people to come open it if you have an armband to get in. So get there by 10 and let camping out front all night. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Seriously.
No fun.
Now, the next morning, while you're camping out in that entrance at 7 a.m., the gate registration will open again. From 9 to 5, they have the optional test day, which is hosted by NJMP. It's $450 per car, up to 15 drivers. $50 late fee if you decide the day of the event you want to do it. So that's $500.
That's so
We're going to have the link, but you're going to want to click on that to register and get more info. At 11 until 5 is going to be your BS, gear, and car tech. You are assigned a specific tech time. It is hilarious every time a team just shows up and we go, "We don't have you. What time are you supposed to be here?" "We have assigned tech times." Read the email. Look on the page, for Pete's sake.
Who still does that? They've been doing this for years now.
It's always 3 or 4 teams. I don't know what that's all about.
Get over it.
Okay. Look, that's your time. No changes. You're going to be emailed that. So know that's there. Oh, in fact, here, I've got a link to the tech times because my co-host do an excellent job of building the notes. So it is in our show notes where you go to get your tech time. Now, from 6 until 7:30 p.m., there is a track walk, but listen for announcements. Don't go jumping out there at 6 p.m. because you heard it. All right. They have to clear the track first. No motorized vehicles. That includes people like me and my little electric skateboard. You can't do all that. And yet again, at 9 p.m., the gate registration will close physically. No armband, no entry. Saturday morning, they're going to open those gates again at 7 a.m. 9 a.m. is the mandatory drivers meeting. 9:30 is grid time. And the first race section will be going from 10 to 6. 7 p.m. that night, gate registration close. So have your armband when you go downtown for dinner, but you're stupid because there's a potluck and pudding shots. Why would you do that? Don't even leave the track. Just stay where you are.
Yep.
Now, Sunday, 7 a.m., again, the gates and registration open. But you should be there because there was a potluck and you probably had too many pudding shots and you needed to stay at the track anyway. So don't leave. It's better that way. The race session will start at 9 a.m. and will end at 3:30. Awards will be at 4. And then after awards, get all of your race belongings packed up because by 7, you got to get the Bugatti.
Get the Bugatti.
All right. If this is your first time attending this place, the track is kind of in the middle of nowhere. So you have to drive out a little bit, down a couple very nice tree-lined roads to get to the track. But everything is not too far away. So there is a Wawa that you're going to pass right on the way to the track. A Wawa that does not have gas. One of our, but if you're coming right off the highway, there's a ton of stuff, all kinds of chain restaurants, liquor stores, grocery stores, Walmart. So everything is a little bit further away from the track, but close enough for you to be able to get pretty much whatever you need.
It's all within like 15 minutes, though. This is not like you're at High Plains where there's nothing.
Right. And this exit to get to the guard to 55 is when you're getting to the highway from or to or from, you have to pass a lot of things.
Word of caution, if you are going to stop at the liquor store by the Walmart, park your car and trailer in the Walmart parking lot. Do not try to cross the mountainous speed bumps that they have in the liquor store parking lot.
Sounds like you know this from.
That will not be fun for you.
So there are a couple Wawa, mega Wawas, especially. Should we tell about where our secret one
Sure,
is?
go ahead.
If you are getting off at the Millville exit to go to the track, it's going to want to direct you off the Millville exit. I suggest you, especially if you're coming from the Philly area, go to the next exit. That it kind of might be mad at you. I couldn't tell you what number it is. Basically, you go to the next exit, and then there is a very large Super Wawa with a really big parking lot, and it's never busy. So it's really a nice place to stop, rather than trying to navigate all of the different lights and crossover lanes and jug handles and all that stuff that is
and that really
Millville
tight
exit.
light in the center of town that you have to go through to make the track. Yeah.
It's really lovely to go to the next exit.
Yeah. For the three of you that have never driven in New Jersey, you can't make a right turn anywhere. That's why she says jug handles. They literally force you to make lefts.
Left
turns.
No, it's other way.
I'm sorry. Yes, you can't make left turns. You have to go right, and then that crosses over.
You can't in Millville, but there's many other places that you cannot. So it's not as bad there. So our other favorite gas station is this really crappy one called Riggins. It's right on the corner. It's pretty much the closest gas station to the track, and it is usually the best price in town. I'm pretty sure they let you pump your own gas, and they don't really hassle you about what kind of cans that you are putting them in. So
unless you're an official from the state of New Jersey, in which case they never ever do that. They never let you pump your own gas. Yes.
Good plan. I have brought 55-gallon drums that aren't labeled, and they said, "Are you sure?" And we said, "Yeah." And they said, "Okay." So there's another great place you have to hit up is Blinker Custard. So on your way to the track, really can't miss it. You have to take this kind of an offshoot to the left, and it is right there. Parking's not great. Don't bring your trailer because it's residential right there. But really, really good food, really big menu. Gotta stop at Blinker Custard.
Excellent ice cream. That's what it's for, really.
Yes.
Yep. And there are parts stores and stuff in Millville. There's an AutoZone. There's an Advance. I think there's a Napa not far too.
Yep. Oh, and there's good stuff in town too.
Yep. What's the junkyard they shouldn't go to?
Vans. Do not go to Vans. I don't even know if it's open anymore, but don't go there.
We remember you.
All got bad motors from
We remember you.
Yep, we did.
That for Three Pedal Mafia remembers.
Sorry for party also remembers.
Pretty much.
Remembers? I remembers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about what's it like in the track if you've never been there. So you come into the long, windy entrance road, you stop, you sign some waivers, you then go to a gate that no one is going to be manning up further. You take a left and then an immediate right and go past all the condos that you're going to see on your right-hand side. You'll then take a right and wind up over a bridge that goes over the track, which is a little further to your left there, Mattew. There you go. There's the bridge. And you'll come down the bridge and you'll see right in front of you the fuel tank farm, which is in the kind of northeast corner of the paddock. And then from there, head on straight into the paddock. And if you keep going, in the very middle of the paddock is where the event garages, they call them, are. And that is where HQ is. HQ is at the southern end of the event garages.
In theory, we will be there as well.
We will. Mm-hmm. Yep. There's also the, I don't know what they call them. They're the paddock garages, the pit lane garages, whatever. They're on the south side. They're single bay garages underneath the the hotel rooms that are above it. Now, here's a trick. Most people stop on that side. If you don't have a garage, keep going around to the other side, to the western side of the garages. It's much less crowded. There's ample space in this paddock too. There is a ton of room, but if you go on the western side, it's going to be more space for you and you're going to find a better spot probably. There's ample power poles. Everywhere in this paddock has power poles. So you should have no problem finding power. They make you deal with a ridiculous app to get this electricity and the power poles. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And New Jersey is especially, it wins an award for the D-baggest track of the year, that if you rent a garage, you now have to separately pay for the electricity in the garage that you're paying to rent.
By the hour.
What? Oh my God.
Yep.
$10 an hour.
By the hour.
Or the bargain price of $40 for 10 hours, let alone that the 50 amp service of the RV is $50 like a day. Yeah.
Right.
So we are making sure that we are not going to buy anything at the track this weekend. If this is the game they want to play, we are not buying them any fuel. We are not buying
shitification of your target market. That's just stupid.
We are not buying anything at your track because this is over the top completely. So, and we encourage you listeners, when you're at the track, also don't buy anything from them and tell them when you come in that you think their setup of purchasing electricity by the hour in the garages that people have already paid for is just too much. So
what kind of subscription-based bullshit MBA moron came up with that and thought that would work with this crowd? Wow. And not just like the Lemons
charge
crowd,
$10
like
more for the garages.
All racers in general. This is, $10 in the garages? Yeah, we get it. Inflation. Oh, you're going to nickel and dime me for some electricity?
That's exactly the attitude.
And it's not like it's nickel and diming either. It's $10 an hour for a 110 plug.
Yeah, it's dollar and 20ing you to death. That's just shitty.
How much power do you think we could actually pull out of one garage if we really wanted to make a point and just pay $10?
This is making me, as a facilities manager, I don't even want to think about this because I literally just had almost a fire with a power strip, and it makes me think of like
Lemons people are creative and cheap.
We should not be doing that. I mean, I know, but
everyone bring your splitters.
My day job is making me go, don't do that.
How many power strips can you tie together?
Plugged into power strips that are plugged into power strips.
I mean, splitters with extension cords. We've got it.
Yeah. And bring your solar panels too. Screw you.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Restrooms. There are restrooms in the event garages. They're right at judging. They're right around the corner. So there's women's on one side, men's on the other. You can get showers and restrooms. They're pretty nice. They're in the tower garage. That's not the tower, but it's the other garage. It's not a garage. I'm sorry. Other building that is at the end of that parking lot. Keep walking. They have.
It looks like an aircraft hangar kind of thing. It's where there's a restaurant in the back.
It's just after turn 3.
Right. They do have things
you can north of all the garages.
They have things you can buy. Please do not buy things from them. Yes, so that you can go there. If you feel like trekking all the way out, there are some showers and restrooms. I believe they're still usually open at the restaurant. So you'd have to go all the way out to the track, to the main road where the two roads diverge. You can go out to the main track and they have a restaurant. Don't buy things from there. And showers and restrooms. Not very big there though, but something if you are.
Hopefully they won't start charging for water by the pint.
They're
going to put a card reader on the bathroom soon, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness. All right. But now when you do get to the track and it is down there, so for the track day, it's going to be a slightly different entrance. So at the end of those garage condos, that's usually where they have you entering the track, and then you exit on the other side of that, which is different because for Saturday, because there's going to be so many cars, you're going to be way down here where you come off the bridge, and the entrance onto the hot pits is down there at the farthest point, not too far where you cross off that, and then they'll kick it back over once everyone is
way down by the
fuel
farm.
Way down by the fuel farm.
Like you're leaving the track and then
audio
just
show. We have to describe the things instead of down here.
Thank you. I'm thinking to myself. So yes, you and if you're confused, just wait a few minutes. You don't have to be the first one lined up and follow everybody else, but it is at the farthest end of the paddock, and you will see everyone start to line up there.
When you leave or
and if you're hungry before you get in the car, we got you covered.
Speaking of track food, don't eat at the places that they have, but we're gonna have a potluck, so make sure you show up. It's at 6:30. We drop the food at it should be in judging. Drop your food at 6:30. Please have it cooked. Don't worry about anything that was hot. We're not plugging obviously we're not plugging anything.
Guess what? You're not going to have any power.
Yeah, right. So bring your food hot, or if you're going to eat it cold, then you're just going to eat it cold. So it's all good. Eat at 7-ish, depending on how much food we have. Right now, I've already looked at it's not right now, but last time I looked at the list of who has what food. It's a lot of meat, which is great for the meat sweats, but you can consider bringing a cold salad or something like that. And anything you bring will be welcome.
Okay.
Except a half-eaten pizza, a single bag
the normal,
of snack
yes.
size Doritos. Right?
Yes.
Or the tub of macaroni salad. Okay.
Yes.
The normal.
Great. So to get into the hot pits to do your fueling and driver change, there's only one place that you can get in. There's a gap between the tower and the garages with the hotel rooms above them with a fence, and the fence gets cracked open for about a 4-foot gap. And that is where you can walk into the pits to do your fueling. What people love to do is when they're coming off the track, they walk through the gate and stop and take all their helmets off and take all those things off. And that's the only way to get in there, because there's this big trailer that lives right there, and there's a tiny walkway. So please walk well past that choke point.
Go to the podium right there. The podium.
And,
it's right here.
Well,
the podium is usually right up against the fence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not where it is in the picture that you're saying.
And everybody's also has all of their carts, which are running into each other. Fuel jugs are falling off carts, and everybody's walking around like a spaceman. So nobody can see the carts that you have that are in the walkway because you're standing there with your helmet on, waiting, coming, going. It gets to be
don't just stand
chaotic.
in the walkway waiting for your car. Like, to stay out of the way, people. Like, we're trying to live in a society here. Come on. Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to live in a society here.
So true.
Hey, forget about it.
All right. Hey, the weather it is, it's not going to be terribly awful, but also not going to be terribly great. So it's going to rain Friday, probably into Saturday. And looking at that, and I can quit clicking on everything and just click on one thing.
Acumental 4000.
Acumental 4000. So Friday, you're looking at 83 with a low of 62, and then Saturday, 78. And it's absolutely cloudy skies and high of 81. It's going to be doing that. 70% humidity. I am sweating reading those words. That is awful.
70 sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's only
70% humidity sounds.
It's 80 degrees.
We can deal with it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Sunday is going to be a lovely 62 and winds with light and variable with
that's
at night.
That's Sunday night.
Oh,
That's
Sunday
Sunday.
night.
That's when you gotta get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, right.
All right, sorry. Seth, showers early, scattered thunderstorms developing later in the day because it's stupid hot and stupid humid. So there's that one.
That's
Chance of rain
Saturday.
60%, and it always does that. So that is Saturday.
We'll see. Doesn't really
It'll be
know.
fine.
Yep.
Everything will be fine.
We're going to have a shower, at least.
It is. When it rains, sometimes some of the lower areas in the paddock do tend to flood. It's avoidable. You just have to manage it. So, take care as you do that. And I believe the phrase is northeast hot. So in the 80s. I think that is just,
I mean, it's not Thunderhill hot, but it's also humid. So we'll call it northeast hot.
Yeah.
It'll be sticky.
Yeah.
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 And New Jersey's
phrase.
got some stupid rules. Timmy, you want to tell us about some of the stupid rules they have in New Jersey?
I would love to tell you how stupid the New Jersey rules are, specifically fueling. Guess what you can't do in New Jersey? You can't just put gasoline in like random garbage bags. They have to actually be red cans.
Actually, you can't put gasoline in anything.
In anything. Yes.
Someone else has to
need
do
an
it.
attendant to put fuel into your cans or your vehicle, with the exception of the hot pit. So if you are on the hot pit, you are allowed to fuel your car, but from red cans only. Seatbelts. What I don't know what you mean by the seatbelt.
Oh, the seatbelt. Okay. New Jersey has a 2-year life time of seatbelts.
Yes,
Your seatbelts can be no more than 2 years old, even though Lemon says 5 years. Great. So if you have an SFI belt, it has a born on date, and Lemon says 5 years is okay. New Jersey says, nope, it's 2. And the state police have checked. So, yeah. So that's why we buy FIA belts, because we race in New Jersey. They don't have a born on date. They have an expiration date, which was 5 years from when they were made. And so police look at that and say, okay, that's fine. They're not expired yet. So that's okay, but not the ones with the born on date. Yeah. Be prepared. You can still Amazon Prime yourself some belts or overnight them to the track if you haven't done so yet.
Yeah, and then just return them when you don't use them. Perfect. So dumb.
Just get FIA belts next time, people, please.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about this track.
Time for a track walk.
Yes, dude.
Right.
Racetrack.
So when you get on the track, it's going to be, assuming not at the very start of the day on Saturday, you're going to get on the track just to the east side of the pit lane condos and turn right onto the paddock pit lane. You're then going to see Dale or Ken or Joe or whoever's doing your deck check there, and then head on down the pit lane, which is the other direction. Mental goes to, it's a clockwise track. So we're going to keep heading to the west.
Got it right.
We'll then stay.
He was going.
He was going right. We're going.
That's
See the
all right.
mouse?
Fine. Keep going. I said game both ways. Anyway, you're going to go clockwise, which will come down to where turn 1 is. And the blend line doesn't really exist. It's just going to stick you out on the inside of turn 1 into traffic. Welcome to New Jersey. So you also don't have a whole lot of room before turn 2 here. So as you're coming through on the entryway on the inside of one. Keep an eye on the cars coming through here because they might be coming through there 3 wide, red misty, and not paying attention to you. So be careful, pause, and then merge. All right.
Just stay right.
So let's
stay right.
Yeah.
Stay right.
Just stay
seriously,
right.
stay right all the way to the top of 2.
Yeah.
So let's go back up. You're on the straight. You're on the straight, and you're probably going pretty quick because this is a straight where you can carry some real speed coming in.
And it's straight. There's no kinks. There's no humps. There's no anything.
It is straight.
Slightly downhill.
Flat. It has great sight lines, but you're moving. But the thing is, turn 1 looks deceptive when you come up to it. It looks tighter than it is because of the angle of it and the way the curbing is set. You don't really see your way through turn 1 as much as you'd like to. So a lot of people over slow for it. And a lot of people seem to early apex it too, which lets them push wide on the far end. So brake a little later, and you probably don't need to brake quite as much as you think, but it's a later turn in than your eyes want you to have when you're first looking at the corner. There is a lot of runoff from initially. So if you blow your brakes, there's some place to go that's paved still. But once you're beyond that, you are in the dirt and there is a nice ditch there. So be careful. And if you go off there, which someone's going to, don't try to force it back on the track. Just gather it up, keep it going straight, and then gently return back to the track when it's smoother and safe to do so.
And go talk.
So this is not quite exactly. Not quite a 90-degree turn, but close. All right. Turn 2 is over a hill, and you can't see over said hill. So brake a little later and apex a little later because your car is going to get light over the crest there at turn 2. There is a very wide curbing on the track out of 2, and it is a pretty friendly curb, but it doesn't have a lot of grip. But it doesn't really beat the car up. But again, there's a pretty solid ditch on the other side of that. Don't get past it. You can go out and touch it. That's fine. But just your car is going to get light coming over that hill at 2. So then you're going down past 2 toward the chicane. We're going to be using the chicane at turn 3 if history is to be believed, and it probably will be because Lemons wants to slow some people down. So you're going to come down off of 2 and be looking to your right to go through the chicane. You can kind of carry your way into this corner a little deeper than you think before you turn in, because remember, the turn in and the first right and the next left are all setting you up for a good exit out of this chicane and onto what is a straight down before turn 4. So I think you don't even have to come all the way into the apex up in the middle of the start of the chicane on turn 3. I like to apex a little later, which sets me up for a better exit out of, in the middle corner of the chicane, which really you're not tracking out at all. You're staying in tight on the inside, on the apex, on the left of the middle corner of the chicane. And then you're going to head back, to the right on 3C and really set the whole thing up for a good line out of 3C onto the straight, because if you can give up some speed in the early part of that chicane, you can gain a lot on the way out, and you can pass a lot of cars coming out of that did not give up the speed in the middle of the chicane. So that gets you onto the straight between 3 and 4. This is a downhill and then an uphill with a crest to the top. At the bottom of that downhill, if it is raining, it will be a pond. If it rains a lot, it gets to be a really big pond that cars are going to have a wake as they go through, and that wake will fly up at the cars around them and potentially even go right into the windows of the cars around them, which is really fun.
That's nice.
So watch that in the rain. Yep. All right. So once you come up with the crest before turn 4, you're moving pretty well, and turn 4 is going to look pretty tight. Like you're going to come up and say, "Oh, this is a tight corner." It's not nearly as tight as you think. If you don't have a lot of cars around you, you can carry a tremendous amount of speed through here, more than you think. You're going to have to brake some, no doubt, unless you're in a Simca or something, but not quite as much as you think you have to. If you look through the corner, you really got to look your way all the way through the corner, and then you'll be fine. So after 4, it's a 45-degree corner. it just looks tighter when you're looking through it. This is also plenty of runoff from here, which is really nice. When the brake pad falls out of your Civic and you're going 110 miles an hour, you can just spin off into the grass and not hit anything. Yep. So after you come through the 45-degree right there, you track out to the left and then immediately work your way back to all the way to the right before turn 5. Turn 5 is a 90-degree left-hand corner. It is a favorable angle. I mean, there's a little bit of camber toward the inside, but people tend to early apex it. It is also a big curb on the inside. It will move your car around if you hit that curb. So try to avoid it if you can. So, but because it's slightly more than 90 degrees, you want to apex it a little later than you think, which will let you track out onto the next straight between 5 and 6. And if you've done this correctly, you will track out at the very end of the red and white curbing. This is another great place to pass people.
On the outside, there's a mass drop off unless they fixed it.
Yeah.
So if you go over that curbing, it's grabbing the car.
Yep. That's a good rule of this track. Any place that you see a lot of dirt off the track, it's because a lot of cars are driven on it, and it's probably a big hole. So really try to avoid it. But this corner ends up being too wide through the whole corner a lot. So pick your lane and pick how you're going to get through it going past turn 5. All right. So then go to turn 6, or between the straight between 5 and 6. This is just it's a smaller straight, but it's a good way to get some people settled between 5 and 6. Some significant passing does go on here. And at the far end of this straight, on your left-hand side is corner station number 9. That is frequently used for black flags. So as you're coming down this straight, coming up to 6, give a look to that corner station a little extra to make sure they are not waving something at you. Turn 6 is about a 85-degree right-hand turn. You're going to need to brush your brakes a little before you go through it unless you're in a very slow car, but it's nothing exciting or spectacular. It's just a normal 90-degree-ish right-hand turn that you can carry some decent speed through. And then you'll be on the straight between 6 and 7, heading toward the condos. Again, good passing zones here. And then you're coming up to the right at turn 7. You're going to have to brake pretty hard here. But I tend to brake a little harder than some other people at 7 because I'm trying to set myself up for the next section, the whole 7, 8, 9, 10-ish section. But 7, 8, 9 we'll talk about as all together because they really are kind of one giant corner. So you can brake pretty late coming into 7. But set yourself up so you're not tracking all the way out into the dirt. You don't want to go all the way out there. It's further than you need to go. So, some points you want to ride the fastest line and keep the vehicle speed up. Some points you want to go a shorter distance. And I think this is one of those. So you can track most of the way out coming out of 7, but then you're just going to keep turning right through 8. But essentially you're full throttle. After you brake for 7, you're back on the gas and you're accelerating all the way through 8. And then as you're coming into 9, it starts to tighten up a little bit, and then it starts to tighten up a little bit more, and then it starts to tighten up a lot more, and then people spin off and go off on the outside all the time.
Especially if it's wet.
Yeah, all the time. I'll talk about wet line when we're done with this one too. So what I recommend is you come through 7, don't track all the way out, and then gradually start to tighten your line up all the way through 8. And as you're getting to 9, and then you're really braking coming into 9. And I like to basically ride the curbing kind of all the way around 9 to set yourself up for 10, which is the head of the octopus. Also, this is the safest line in traffic, I firmly believe, because all the people who have done it all poorly and are too fast are all going to wash out wide at 9 into the dirt. And I don't want to be anywhere near those people. So if I was trying to go for ultimate speed, I'd probably stay out a little bit further before cutting it in once the radius really tightens up on 9. All right. So then you got 10. This is a greater than 180-degree left-hander. It is slightly uphill. It has a little bit of camber, but you can pass people on the outside if they're not going fast enough on the inside. That's okay. Pick your lane, essentially. If no one's around, I start on the outside. Coming out of 9, I do not track out of 9. but then gradually tuck yourself into 10 so that by the time you're maybe a third of the way around 10, you're just up on the curbing. And here's a trick. Put 2 left wheels on the curbing on the left-hand side and the inside. It is, I don't know what is that curbing is made out of, but it just holds onto the wheel and you will just drive around everybody else on the inside. But it is a tricky proposition because just on the inside of that, a ditch. That's not going to work. You don't want a ditch hook. This is not rally. You're going to break something.
Because there's like, it must have been patched at some point. So it's kind of like there's a groove and a section and another groove. And so it's like the size of your tire in the track that's right. Like you'd have to go up onto there's almost like a little lip to go up onto the candy stripping. So it's just like a little groove.
It just hangs on. And it's amazing how much faster you go around that corner if you put 2 tires on the inside curbing. But again, be careful. If you go too far, you're in a ditch. All right. So after you're coming through 10, you're gonna track out of 10, but not fully because you're setting yourself up for the 11 and 11A kind of S's. But again, this is 131 cars here on this track. So you're just going to be picking your lane and where you can get by. 11 becomes a choke point a lot because people cut the corners between 10 and 11 and don't leave a lot of room. So just watch out for people that are not watching behind them or
and
watch your mirrors for faster cars.
I know you're getting here, but you're getting ready to, some people might be pitting. So if you have a car that is trying to limp back on, get off the track, they may be slow there. So you might be coming rocking out of the octopus head and you're like, yeah, I'm rocking. And then all of a sudden you're like, fast cars trying to get around people, they're slower and then slower.
Yep. Yes. The back into the pits is on the right-hand side after 11A. So out of 11A, you're going to go under the bridge. And when you go under the bridge, you really can't see anything that's in front of you at all. And that is disconcerting when you're driving there at speed. But know that turn 12 going back onto the straight is actually a fairly gentle turn. And the other thing is that the curbing on the inside of 12 is extremely friendly. So you can put your 2 right side tires all the way up over that curbing. It is completely fine. And you can tell that because of the bridge, people don't push this one too hard because there's no dirt in the picture on the left-hand side at the track out. People tend to not push that too far. So really pick your lane, pick your speed of people around you. But if there's no one around, you can ride over that curbing on the inside and carry a lot of speed through 12. Like if you come out of 10 with a good head of steam, you're going to brake a little at 12, but not as much as you think. And then you're onto the straight and it's fast and clear, and we can go easily 4 wide down that straight, and we will.
You will,
I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
What about the racing line or the rain line?
Yeah, about to say it. The rain line. We're not going to do turn by turn on this, but this is one of those tracks where a classic rain line is what works for the most part. So the classic rain line is essentially the opposite of the dry line. So if you have, let's use turn 6 as an example. Turn 6 is the right-hand turn on the eastern side of the track, and it is just a 90-degree right. So if in the dry, you're going to come onto this with all the way to your left. You're then going to apex the corner in the middle on your right, and then track out back to your left. Well, in the wet, you're going to do the opposite. And especially if you look at the satellite picture, you can see where the racing line is. You can see it's a little darker. That is from all the rubber that is on the track. And it's also from all those cars driving on has polished it down over time. And when it's wet, that makes it slick. So what you want to do is stay on the stuff that looks like a matte finish as opposed to a gloss finish when you're on the track, because that has the water is actually moving through it and you're going to have more grip. So coming into this corner, you're going to stay on the right-hand side. Do your braking in a straight line on the right-hand side of the track, then ease off on your brakes because you're going to cross the dry line. It's going to get slick, but then on the other side of it, suddenly you have traction again. Then you're going to make a harder right-hand turn and then cross the dry line again and then end up back on the right-hand side. It doesn't make sense until you try it. And when you do, you'll say, oh, that's pretty amazing how that works. So give it a shot. Essentially, imagine you have your car, and whatever it is a big block Camaro. All it can do is stop and go, mostly go. It can't turn for anything. So you turn the whole track into drag strips and braking zones. Because in the rain, you lose more of your cornering ability than you lose your acceleration and deceleration traction. So do whatever you can to turn it all into drag strips and braking zones and stay off the polished rubbered spot, and you will have more traction.
Love it.
Okay. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll miss you though, Mental.
I'll miss you guys too.
This race is going to be pretty epic, I think. So we have kind of a large crew coming this time. We've got 4 cars, including
the band and a small town. We're in a small town is what's going to happen.
Greg's friend's band is coming. They're going to play Saturday night. It's going to be an acoustic session, apparently, at this point. But
or they're going to pay for an hour, and they might have a tip jar for an hour.
Everyone charge everything. We've got one power block.
Screw that. Hook up a generator.
There's rules on those. Apparently.
Oh yeah, of course
they do. Because it's Jersey.
Yep.
So it's going to be good. There's going to be a lot of hangers on in our team this weekend. Like, it's going to be kind of insane. Plus, our theme is pretty good. Pretty good.
Wrapping things up here. I posted this. I think I posted it on Facebook, one of those places, about our favorite pancake mix. So if you are going to the track and want to make some pancake mix, I posted that up because I was making the pancakes for this weekend. I was like, you know what? I got to share this with people. So there is an old YouTube video that I made a long time ago and posted that up. So we will link that somewhere, maybe. If not, just go to our Facebook and it's on there.
It'll be in the show notes as well.
And we've got a killer judging crew too. So the Chief Justice, Mr. Eric Rude, he will be the head of all penalty and dumb fuckery and classing. Judge Janice, who is a hell of a nice lady.
I love Janice.
So creative. She's going to be great. I can't wait to watch her deal with the Jersey folks.
Exactly, because they're totally going to underestimate her.
They're not going to understand what happened. Judge Randy will be there, so get your bribes ready. And Judge Erin Cole, always great to see Erin. So get your bribes dialed in. Got an amazing staff. Behave yourself because they will be creative.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't be Jersey in this shit up.
Yeah. Don't bring your jersey. You can check that jersey at the gate.
Totes.
Yep.
Okay. What do we got? Anything else? We done here?
I think that's it. Next week, we actually know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to do the New Jersey Hangover.
Fucking Jersey Hangover.
They're definitely going to hear us out.
I will hear you out.
It's a good idea. It is.
It is.
Where are you going?
Is it time to leave? Should we leave?
Come hungry.
Come hungry.
Yep.
And we'll see.
Well, I'll say real quick, we do have just a thing. All right. We beat safety into your heads and, look, just check your gear. And New Jersey's got some silly rules. Okay. But if you have not had an opportunity to see this on the Instas, we will have it linked in our show notes. But this is a future guest. He normally runs the Mute, but he was driving the twin engine Corolla when right about now, oh, look, that is open flame from the extra engine. It was a failed fuel injector that began to spray explosive stuff. He calmly finally gets the car shut down, has his belts undone before, pulls his fire extinguisher, not to put out the fire, but to give him enough time to get out of the car. And it did work. That car was able to return to the track.
Oh, good.
Here's the thing, not his car. Okay. But he got in the car because he's been racing for a number of years, Chris Ray, and he started looking through, oh, this is where the fire handle is. So he was confident and able to safely remove himself from a car and was able to save the car by just knowing where everything was. So it's just a 30
that's like
second
a fireball behind him. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And the car goes back out on track. I feel like it'd be like, I'm not really sure I want another fireball.
We did have to reinspect it, but they had 2 engines. So they just ran the extra engine.
Use the other one.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why you have,
Co-pilot, we have a flame out in engine 2. Flame out, engine 2.
Dive.
All right.
Great. We'll see you at the track. And if we don't see you at the track, we'll see you next week.
Look forward to seeing you all at Jersey.
Be safe. Thanks for coming
everybody.
by.
Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you will join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hated us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text us at 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram at everyone.racers, YouTube and Facebook under Everyone Racers, or even Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, unless, like us, there is no shiny side, then just keep those wheels down.